Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive through the lens of artificial intelligence. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Marco. In this episode, we're tackling the epic Battle of Thapsus, a clash that reshaped the Roman Republic. So buckle up as we travel back to 46 BC, to the fields of what is now Tunisia.
Before we dive into the heart of the Battle of Thapsus, let's zoom out and understand the broader canvas of the Roman world in the mid-1st century BC. It was a time of incredible tension, transformation, and, frankly, turmoil. The Roman Republic, a powerhouse of the Mediterranean, was grappling with its own success and the challenges that came with it.
Exactly, Chuck. Rome's expansion had brought wealth, territories, and diverse cultures under its control. But it also brought problems. The political system, designed for a city-state, was stretched to its limits. Wealth disparities widened, and the Senate, an elite governing body, found itself at odds with ambitious military leaders who commanded loyalty from their troops and the masses.
Enter Julius Caesar, a figure larger than life, with ambitions to match. After conquering Gaul, he was ordered by the Senate to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. A demand that, if obeyed, would have left him vulnerable to his enemies. In 49 BC, making a decision that would change history, Caesar crossed the Rubicon River with his army, a direct challenge to the Senate's authority and a declaration of civil war.
The die was cast, as Caesar himself said. This act split Rome into two camps. On one side, the populace, supporting Caesar, advocating for reforms that favored the wider populace. On the other, the Optimates, the conservative Senate faction, fighting to maintain the status quo and their privileged position.
This conflict wasn't just about political ideologies or personal ambitions. It was about the future of Rome. Would it continue as a republic, governed by the Senate, or would it evolve into something new, something that would later be recognized as the Roman Empire?
The stage was set for a series of engagements that would culminate in the Battle of Thapsus. Caesar had already scored significant victories against Pompey the Great, the champion of the Senate, who met his end in Egypt. But the war was far from over. The remnants of the Senate's forces, led by Metellus Scipio, along with Gnaeus Pompeius, son of Pompey, regrouped in North Africa. They were determined to resist Caesar and protect the Republic from what they saw as tyranny.
And so, North Africa would become the stage for this decisive confrontation. Both sides knew the stakes were high. For Caesar, victory meant solidifying his control over Rome. For the Optimates, it was about survival and the preservation of the Republic's traditions.
It's this backdrop that makes the Battle of Thapsus so fascinating, Chuck. It wasn't just a military engagement, it was a battle for the soul of Rome.
Well said, Marco. With the stage set in the tumultuous landscape of the Roman Republic teetering on the brink of transformation, let's delve into the forces that clashed at Thapsus, shaping the course of history. Julius Caesar, a name that echoes through the ages, stood at the helm of one of these forces, not just as a commander but as a symbol of change.
Caesar's army was a formidable force, seasoned through the crucible of the Gallic Wars. These were men who had seen the might of Rome extend over Gaul under Caesar's leadership, developing a loyalty to him that transcended the usual bonds of military duty. Their discipline, tactics, and cohesion were unparalleled, making them a juggernaut on the battlefield.
On the opposite side, the Optimates, led by Metellus Scipio, with Gnaeus Pompeius providing both a strategic and symbolic counterpoint to Caesar. They were the defenders of the Republic, at least in their eyes, fighting to preserve the Senate's rule and the traditional fabric of Roman governance. Their forces were a mix of Roman legions and allied troops, including Numidian cavalry famed for their speed and agility, and, notably, war elephants intended to break enemy lines with their sheer mass and terror.
The inclusion of war elephants in Scipio's army is a fascinating aspect. It harks back to the days of Hannibal, suggesting a psychological as well as a physical strategy. These beasts were meant to instill fear and create chaos within the ranks of Caesar's infantry. However, the effectiveness of such tactics against a general of Caesar's caliber and an army of his legion's experience was, let's say, optimistic at best.
Indeed, Marco. And while the numbers on both sides are a subject of historical debate, What's clear is the significance of what they fought for. Caesar's objective was clear: to end the resistance of the Optimates and secure his control over Rome. For Scipio and Pompeius, it was about stopping Caesar at all costs, to preserve the Republic's integrity and their own power within it.
The preparation for the battle also highlighted the strategic minds at work. Caesar knew the value of intelligence, maneuverability, and the element of surprise. His approach to Thapsus was methodical, ensuring his forces were well supplied, well informed, and ready for a prolonged engagement if necessary.
Meanwhile, Scipio's strategy relied on the strength of his position and the hope that his diverse forces, especially the cavalry and elephants, would give him an edge in open battle. The stage was set for a confrontation that was as much a clash of ideologies as it was of armies.
As dawn broke over the plains of Thapsus, the fate of the Roman Republic hung in the balance. It was a moment poised on the edge of history, with each side ready to lay everything on the line for their vision of Rome's future.
As the sun rose over the plains near Thapsus, the air was thick with anticipation. The Roman world stood on the precipice of change, and the day's battle would push it over the edge. Julius Caesar and the forces of the Optimates, led by Metellus Scipio, were about to engage in a confrontation that was months, if not years in the making.
The battlefield itself was a testament to Caesar's tactical acumen. He chose his position carefully, understanding the terrain and how it could be used to neutralize the advantages of Scipio's cavalry and, crucially, his war elephants. Caesar's legions formed up in a traditional three-line formation, but with a significant twist.
That twist was the construction of fortifications, a series of trenches and wooden stakes known as the Scipi, designed to disrupt cavalry charges and provide protection from the elephants. Caesar's foresight in preparing the battlefield showcased his understanding of his opponent's strengths and how to mitigate them.
As the battle commenced, Scipio's forces moved forward, with the war elephants leading the charge, aiming to break through Caesar's lines with sheer force. However, the sight and sound of the charging beasts, which were meant to instill terror, were met with disciplined resistance. Caesar's troops used their heavy javelins known as pili effectively, targeting the elephants and causing chaos in their ranks.
It was a pivotal moment when the elephants, driven to panic by the volley of javelins, turned on their own troops, trampling the infantry behind them. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating to the morale of Scipio's forces. Caesar, seizing the moment, ordered a general advance.
But Caesar didn't just rely on brute force. He had stationed his fourth line, a reserve force, with orders to flank the enemy. This maneuver was executed with precision as Caesar's reserves hit the already disorganized enemy from the side. This envelopment turned the tide definitively in Caesar's favor.
Amidst the chaos, the discipline and training of Caesar's legions shone through. They pushed forward, exploiting gaps in the enemy's line, and began to encircle Scipio's forces. It was not just a battle of strength but of strategic superiority. Caesar's ability to adapt and command in the heat of battle was unmatched.
The result was a rout. Scipio's forces, unable to withstand the pressure from all sides, began to break. The cohesion of the Optimates' army disintegrated, leading to a mass retreat towards their camp and, for many, towards the sea, in a desperate attempt to escape.
The aftermath of the battle was a grim sight. The field was littered with the dead, both human and elephant, a testament to the ferocity of the engagement. For Caesar, it was a decisive victory, one that solidified his control over the Roman world and marked the beginning of the end for the Roman Republic.
And while the battle was a tactical masterpiece, it also highlighted the brutal realities of war. The casualties were significant on both sides, with the Optimates suffering the brunt of the losses. The pursuit of victory at Thapsus came at a high price, but it was a price Caesar was willing to pay for the control of Rome.
The Battle of Thapsus was more than just a clash of armies, it was a clash of ideals, a fight for the future direction of Rome. Caesar's victory not only reshaped the political landscape but also set the stage for the transition from republic to empire. Amidst the strategy and chaos of Thapsus, individual acts of valor and moments of extraordinary courage shone brightly, illuminating the human spirit behind the historical narrative. These stories of heroism not only highlight the personal stakes involved but also give us a glimpse into the character of the men who fought on that fateful day.
One such hero, undoubtedly, was Julius Caesar himself. Beyond his tactical genius, It was his leadership and presence on the battlefield that inspired his troops to fight with unmatched fervor. Caesar was not a commander who led from the rear, he was at the heart of the action, risking his life alongside his soldiers. This not only boosted the morale of his men but also solidified his legend as one of history's greatest military leaders.
On the other side, we have the tragic heroism of Gnaeus Pompeius, son of Pompey the Great. Following in the footsteps of his father, Gnaeus fought with a determination that was both admirable and heartrending. Leading his men against what many would consider insurmountable odds, Gnaeus embodied the loyalty and honor that define the best of Rome's military tradition. His valiant efforts, though ultimately unsuccessful, earned him a place in the annals of history as a symbol of resistance against the inevitable tide of change.
But heroism was not the sole domain of generals and leaders. The ranks of both armies were filled with soldiers who displayed extraordinary bravery. One such story is that of a young legionary in Caesar's army who, according to accounts, single-handedly defended a breach in their fortifications against a surge of enemy troops. His actions not only held the line but also rallied his comrades to repel the attack, turning a potential disaster into a moment of triumph.
Similarly, tales of the Numidian cavalry's daring maneuvers on the battlefield highlight the courage of Scipio's allied forces. These skilled horsemen, renowned for their agility and speed, executed charges that, for a time, posed a significant threat to Caesar's flanks. Their bravery in the face of an encroaching defeat speaks volumes about the loyalty and warrior spirit that animated the armies of the Republic.
The Battle of Thapsus, like all great historical events, is a tapestry woven from individual acts of courage, sacrifice, and determination. These stories of heroism serve as a reminder that behind every shield, every sword, and every command was a person, a soldier, a leader, a son, or a father, each playing a role in the unfolding drama of history.
As we honor these heroes and legends, we're reminded of the personal cost of war, the human element that often gets lost in the grand sweep of history. Their stories, both triumphant and tragic, are a testament to the enduring spirit of those who fight not just for victory, but for what they believe to be right. The dust settles on the plains near Thapsus, and the immediate aftermath is stark. The battlefield is strewn with the casualties of war, a grim reminder of the day's brutalities. But beyond the immediate horror lies a significant turning point in Roman history. The Battle of Thapsus was not merely a clash of armies, it was the catalyst for a transformation that would usher in a new era for Rome.
In the wake of his victory, Julius Caesar emerged not just as a victorious general but as the uncontested power in Rome. The defeat of the Optimates forces at Thapsus effectively ended any significant resistance to Caesar's rule. The remnants of the Senate's armies, those who survived the battle, were scattered or taken prisoner, their leaders either slain or in flight.
The political implications of Thapsus were profound. Caesar's victory solidified his control over the Roman Republic, paving the way for his eventual declaration as dictator for life. This marked a pivotal shift from the Republic's traditional senatorial rule to a centralized imperial authority, a shift that would eventually lead to the establishment of the Roman Empire under Caesar's heir, Augustus.
It's fascinating, Chuck, how the aftermath of Thapsus extends beyond the battlefield. Caesar's clemency to his defeated opponents was a strategic move that helped stabilize his rule. By pardoning many of the surviving senators and incorporating their legions into his own, Caesar not only expanded his power base but also attempted to heal the divisions that had led to civil war.
Yet, the path to peace was not without its challenges. The assassination of Caesar on the Ides of March, 44 BC, barely 2 years after Thapsus, underscores the volatile nature of Roman politics. Caesar's death plunged Rome into further turmoil, leading to the rise of the Second Triumvirate and eventually, the ascension of Octavian, later known as Augustus, Caesar's adopted son and heir.
The societal impact of Thapsus and the ensuing changes in Roman governance cannot be overstated. The transition from republic to empire altered Rome's administrative and military structures, its relationship with its territories, and even the identity and aspirations of its people. Rome expanded its borders, solidifying its status as a Mediterranean superpower, and laid the groundwork for a period of relative peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana.
On a more somber note, the casualties of Thapsus, both military and civilian, remind us of the human cost of war. The loss of life, the displacement of populations, and the destruction of livelihoods are the tragic legacies of this conflict, echoing through the ages.
Yet, from the ashes of Thapsus, a new Rome emerged, one that would leave an indelible mark on the world stage. The architectural, cultural, and legal innovations of the Roman Empire continue to influence modern civilization, from the concept of citizenship to the foundations of Western legal systems.
As we reflect on the aftermath of the Battle of Thapsus, we're reminded of the complex tapestry of history, woven from the threads of ambition, conflict, and the quest for power. It's a story that teaches us about the consequences of leadership, the dynamics of change, and the enduring human spirit. As we bring today's exploration of the past to a close, we want to take a moment to thank you, our dedicated listeners, for joining us on this journey through history.
Absolutely, Chuck. And your engagement means the world to us. If you've enjoyed venturing through time with us, please consider rating, subscribing, and sharing our podcast. Your 5-star reviews help us reach more listeners, grow our community, and continue to bring history to life.
And we're always eager to hear from you. Have an idea for a future episode? A question about history you've always wanted answered? Reach out to us on social media. Your suggestions inspire our journeys and help shape the content, making history accessible and engaging for everyone.
Don't forget, we also have some fantastic History AI podcast merchandise available. Wearing our gear is a great way to support the podcast and show your love for history. You'll find the link in the show notes. And as a thank you to our listeners, we're offering a 10% discount on your first purchase. Just use the code The History AI Podcast, all one word, at checkout.
Before we sign off, remember that our episodes are designed to be evergreen, providing insights and stories that remain relevant, informative, and engaging, no matter when you listen. So, whether you're joining us today or years from now, we're here to accompany you on your historical explorations.
Thank you once again for lending us your ears and your curiosity. Your support fuels our passion and allows us to continue this incredible voyage through time. Until next time, keep the past alive and remember, history is not just about dates and documents, it's a story we share.
And those 5-star reviews? They're like a time machine, helping us bring more of history's untold stories into the present. See you in the next episode.
Farewell, fellow time travelers.
Looking for the perfect way to show appreciation for the incredible mom in your life? Discover Exhausted Moms, a coloring journey to relaxation and humor, the coloring book that speaks directly to the heart of motherhood. Gift her an escape into pages of laughter, empowerment, and moments of tranquility. With Exhausted Moms, she'll find a blend of whimsical illustrations and inspiring quotes that celebrate her daily triumphs and challenges. Crafted with love from images I created for the mother of my children, each page offers a space for creativity and relaxation, a reminder that she's doing an amazing job, even on the toughest days. Give the gift of laughter, peace, and recognition. Exhausted Moms isn't just a coloring book, it's a hug, a nod of understanding, and a token of appreciation for everything she does. Surprise her with Exhausted Moms today and watch her face light up with joy. Because every mom deserves a moment to herself, wrapped in the colors of love and support.